Now we're going to start to change the data on this Excel spreadsheet using just this home tab. And there's quite a bit of things that you can do with it. First of all, you can highlight a range of information, change the font, change the size. This also increases or decreases the font quickly. We're going to bold, underline. This is for borders. These would color or not. I'm going to undo. This changes the font color. And this is the alignment, so we're going to center. And that's just an example. Now, I don't really, if I wanted to apply the same formatting, so I'm going to change this to a different, I'm going to change this to red so it's easier for you to see. There is this awesome thing on the Home tab clipboard group called the Format Painter. Format Painter takes the format of one object and applies it to another. So you click on the thing that you like the format of, you click on Format Painter, and you click what you would like to apply the red underlining to, and that would be this date. Now, it changed to 40,063. That's obviously not what I want. That is because it's not formatting it as a date anymore. It thinks it's text, because that was part of this formatting. If you ever need to change this back to a number, you can go here to the number formatting group, pull this down, and say short date. So now I'm going to apply this formatting to all of these. If you have more than one thing you want to apply the formatting to, you can double click the Format Painter and you'll be able to apply it to multiple things. I'm going to actually take this, I don't want this red and bold, so I'm going to copy the format of the last name, Format Painter, and then highlight all of them, and now they're back to normal. Another thing you can do is to change the way the text is rotated. And I hope you're doing this with me. So highlight all the tests. And we're going to go up here to the alignment group to where you see the AB with the arrow pointing upward. That's the orientation. We're going to click on the little arrow and we're going to choose, see, you could rotate text up or down, do vertical, but we're going to choose to angle it counterclockwise, and you'll see that it angles counterclockwise. We're also going to merge and center the word student information. When you have student information right here, what it means to merge is right now it's just typed in A1. It's not in B1 or C1. We want to make this one big cell. That's what it means to merge. Wrapping text is something else we'll do, and I'll show you that in a little while. But we're going to merge and center. So we just click on this merge and center button, and now that is in one cell. But now we're going to make that bigger. So I want you to hit the upsize arrow or just change the font to 22. And it doesn't fit anymore. You'll see that the N is gone and the S is gone. So now we're going to wrap the text, and you'll see all you see is information. The reason why is if you make row 1 bigger, it wrapped that text. So I made row 1 bigger. The row height now is 61.5. And you can see how it wrapped the text, which means to put it on 2 lines. So if I hover over wrap text, the screen tip shows you. It would go from Microsoft Excel altogether to be Microsoft Excel all in that one cell. So it forces the information to fit in the column width by expanding the row height and bringing it down to the second line. Go ahead and make student ID, first name and last name, red and underlined as well, and bolded. You can double click in between any of the columns, any of these column headings, or any of the row headings, and that will auto fit the cells for you. You can also right click and go to row height to change the row height, or right click on a column heading, go to column width, and manually change those. Or you can go in between any two and you can actually drag to change the column width or the row height. We actually want to change the format of the student ID. See, this person's student ID isn't actually 52,468. It has a 0 in front of it because all of our student IDs are 6 digits. We're going to change this column of numbers to be forced to have 6 digits. So highlight from A3 to A9 and go over here, and you're going to go pull this arrow down under number. Now if you wanted it to be currency, you could click here and you'll see that it automatically formats as currency, or percentage, changes the comma. If you go back to currency, you can increase decimals or decrease decimals. But this isn't money. We need to pull this down and go to more number formats. You'll see that there are a ton of formats. If you were to click on anything, it does zip codes, it does dates in different forms, times in different forms. But we're going to go to custom. And if you type in 6 zeros here, it will force it to be 6 digits long. So I hit OK, and now you'll see that it forced it to have a 0 in front of the rest of these numbers here. Now we're going to format this as a table. So highlight from A2 all the way across to G down to G9. Go to Format as Table, and I'm going to pick one of the mediums. And hit OK. Yes, you want your table, you want to tell your table that it has headings, because student ID, first name, last name, all of this is a heading. Now you'll notice whenever you were on your chart, because it now made it a table, it automatically comes up with this Table Tools tab that wasn't there before, and this is the design for your new table. If you were to hover over these formats, you see that it changes the format and the way it looks. So pick something different. You can also pull this down and there's a ton more. And for contrast purposes, I'm going to pick something that's light, not dark, but that's up to you. You could also change the table styles if you wanted. You could add a total row, a last column, do banded columns. There's just different things that you have the option to do. One of the tools, and this is one of my favorite things about this table formatting, is that it has the ability to remove duplicates. If we click it, you want to look at this remove duplicates box really closely, because one of the things you need to consider is the fact that you're going to have in a school duplicate last names. There could be multiple kids from the same family or just multiple Smiths. Students will have the same first name. We wouldn't want to go by a date. So you really want to make sure, if you're deleting a duplicate value, that you're choosing something that is unique. Well, our student IDs are completely unique. No two students in the school have the same student ID. It would be the same with a social security number or something of that nature, a credit card number. So we're going to unselect all and then reselect student ID. The reason I hit unselect all is because it's way faster than checking each one of these to unselect it. And then I hit OK, and you'll see that it found one duplicate value. 6 unique values remained, and that is because if I hit undo really quickly, we had Terry Anderson in there twice. I'm going to redo this arrow here. If you unselect the table by moving to a different cell, then that design tab goes away. If I re-click on it, then there it is again. While you're in a table, you can move to any of the tabs though. So I'm on the Home tab, even though I do have the table tools available to me. Another great reason that I love this table setting is because you can do some really good things with conditional formatting. So I'm going to highlight all of my grades, and I'm going to go up here to conditional formatting. I want to see anybody who's failing. So I'm going to go to the highlight cell rules, and I'm going to go to less than a 70. I want it to turn anyone who has less than a 70 on a test, I want them to turn their cells red. And you'll see that it did that. You can also change this to different colors, and it's going to show you how it would change it. So now I know who has less than a 70. Furthermore, and this is even more fun, is that you can go to conditional formatting and go to the icon sets, and you can play with color scales and data bars and different things. But I love the icon sets Pick one with the 3, and you'll notice that it's going to put a check mark next to everybody, or an exclamation mark, or an X. Now I don't really know what it defaults to. It's not good enough to just accept the defaults, because I don't know for sure why this 68 has an exclamation mark. To me, that's failing. So I'm actually going to go back to my conditional formatting, and I'm going to go manage my rules. I'm going to click on the icon set and hit edit rule. And now I'm going to format my numbers to be how I want them to be. I don't want to look at percentages, I want to look at the number. And when the value is greater than or equal to 80, I'm perfectly happy with that. That's going to be a checkbox. When the value is between a 70 and an 80, I want to see a yellow exclamation mark. And whenever that's a 0 to a 70 or a 69, I want to see an X. Now I hit OK, and then I hit OK again, and it's going to change it based on my preferences. So now I can see my kids on the edge, my kids that are great, and my kids that didn't do so well. And why this is really useful is because if you were to print this, you would get to see those symbols even if you didn't have a colored printer. Now before we move on to the next tutorial, I want to show you a couple ways to add rows. You can right click on a heading and hit insert, and it will move everything to the right. Notice wherever I put it, it pushed everything to the right. I'm going to undo, Control Z. You can also just start typing. So for instance here, I'm going to want to add an average column because I want to figure out the student's average on these tests. So I'm going to hit type in average in cell H2 and hit enter. You'll notice that it automatically will format it as part of the table. If you didn't want it to, you could pull this down, undo the table auto expansion, or stop automatically expanding the tables, but I did want it to do that. You could also include a new row by right clicking on one of the row numbers and hitting insert. You'll notice that it goes ahead and it continues the formatting for you as well. I'm going to undo that. Please go ahead and go look at the introduction to formulas video, and we'll continue back in a little while.